Here we are once again. This is the Organizational Excellence Podcast. This is Kevin Johnson of Leverage Consulting, and today we are going to talk about not being so sure of ourselves. So in working with the clients that I do and interacting with people around the country, I run across a very common scenario with individuals and teams, businesses, where they are very sure of themselves, very sure of why certain things are the way they are, or they are very sure about why certain things cannot or will not happen. You've heard things like, that's not going to work here. You've heard things like, our customers won't do that. Or you hear individuals say, I can't. You'll hear teams say, we can't. And they're very sure of themselves as to why something, again, can't work, won't work, customers won't do it. It got me thinking even today, and I think really you can hear this whether it's at home with families, you can hear this when you're out and about, when you're the customer, you can hear it. Even, for example, and this is what it got me thinking about, was when Shelley and I were away on vacation a year and a half ago, I think it was. We were on a vacation literally of a lifetime. We went to Indonesia, and the place where we stayed was ran by a couple who had gone into Indonesia, which Indonesia is comprised of about 17,000 islands. But they had gone into Indonesia and secured about 500 square miles of islands and ocean. And they had negotiated with all the local tribes, all the local tribe leaders, and they had gone into each one of these groups and taught them how their way of life would not allow them to sustain long term. But every one of these tribes were essentially of the mindset that if they didn't continue what they were doing, they would not eat tomorrow. Essentially what they were doing was they were going out and catching the manta rays and cutting them up to use as bait to catch other things, which I don't know if any of you really know much about manta rays or how majestic they are, how big they are, but essentially, pelagic manta rays can be somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 feet across. They're huge creatures, intelligent creatures, and essentially they feed off of really tiny stuff in the ocean. But they were essentially catching these things and using it to catch other stuff. And these folks had gone in and taught them that if you allow these manta ray to come in, we allow them to populate, we allow them to live, then people like myself is going to pay really good money to come in and go scuba diving with the manta ray. So it was essentially a way to get them to think of things differently. And it was not an easy process, I'm sure, in the very beginning. But now they have an entire culture, an entire system built around the tourism there where people will come in from all over the world. Even the week we were there were people literally from pretty much every region of the world there scuba diving. And, it's not a cheap vacation, and people are coming in from everywhere, and our dollars there go very, very far. So it became a thing now, and it was creating an economy where people were coming in from outlying islands to be dive masters and things like that and work with us. So bring this back to your business, bring this back to your team, and start thinking about the things where we are so convinced that we can't make this work because of whatever it is, fill in the blank. You'll see, just like the Indonesian tribes, where sometimes we may have a scarcity mindset instead of an abundance mindset. And that mindset is a very, very powerful tool in a good way and a bad way. Making sure that either on a weekly or monthly basis, you are finding a way to expose yourself in other businesses, other leaders, other people who have just mastered certain areas. Always learning to ask questions. Ask questions about, could we do this better, faster, differently? I have another podcast I have teed up there. I'm going to talk about accomplishing things. But the one thing that we also have to start with is having the mindset that we can achieve. As I've already said, we sometimes start off with this closed mindset that it's just not going to work. And you think about Thomas Edison, or fast forward to Elon Musk or anyone else, they start off with an objective in mind, and then they continue to work until they're able to get close to it or even surpass the objective that they had. So really using that open-mindedness, always asking really good questions, staying with the actual objective, and continue to work it until you find your way to make it work. Because, as I said, that mindset is going to be a very, very positive thing, or something that's going to hold you and your team back. So that, my friends, is the Organizational Excellence Podcast for today. As I said, I have another good one coming up. I believe will be coming out on Thursday. I hope you've all had a great day, and we will talk again soon.